Is it running?
I think so. It looks like it's red, so I think that means that it's actually...
That should mean that it's hey there.
Yeah,
That
cool.
should mean that it's
All right,
something.
that means we're on. We're ready to go. Okay.
Cool.
So, hey, welcome back to Seattle.
Thank you.
It's been, for a lot of the fans that are waiting outside right now, including myself, I saw you in 2013 here at El Corazon. Saw you in 2014 here at El Corazon. 2015, I had to travel somewhere, so I went down to Portland and saw you guys with Nightwish. And then,
Portland.
yeah, one of your favorite cities for sure.
Yeah.
And then 2016, I saw you with Nightwish again here in Seattle at the Showbox Soto. But now the big difference is you're back and you're co-headlining with Hammerfall, so we get to hear a much longer set. So I know you guys started in Canada, then you went down to the U.S., and you were just up in Canada again, and now you're dropped back down to the U.S. and Seattle. So how's the tour gone so far?
So far, so good. We are over halfway now.
Okay.
And yeah, we've been really enjoying it. It's especially fun to go back to a lot of places that we've already been, but now for the first time to actually be doing the full headline set. Because, you know, previous times we've always enjoyed touring the US, but a lot of the shows were kind of short.
Yeah.
So it's like, hey, here we are. Okay, bye. You know. So yeah. From my perspective, it's mainly good that we're able to give some of the fans who've been coming back, like all of the times that we were here, to finally give them like a little bit more of the full experience.
Very cool. And speaking of that, I know for other Seattle fans, are we finally going to get to hear April Rain live in the set today? I know it's been in the set most of the time, or can you not say? I just know every time it's been kind of in and out of the set on other tours, we never got it here in Seattle. It always got replaced by something else.
It has been replaced.
Oh no.
Yeah. I'm so sorry. I can always throw it into the group and see what people think of playing it today, but actually it was in the set at the beginning of this tour. That we switched it for something.
Can you tell them that Mark wants to really hear here in Seattle?
I will make a case out of it. I promise.
Okay. Did it get replaced with another song from the back catalog or something from the new album?
In this case, I'm actually not sure. We did quite some switching around.
Okay.
I think we replaced it with something new. I think we started playing Pendulum instead from Vegas.
Okay.
I don't think that was in the... Was Pendulum in de set in het begin van de tour? Nee, hè? Niet zo later bijgekomen, toch? Yeah, I think we replaced it with Pendulum.
Okay, all right. So, I mean, and obviously you guys are promoting the new album, so which is...
It's still a good mix of old and new stuff.
Yeah, and plus you have the time to do it too, instead of trying to figure out which 6 or 7 songs are we going to play tonight. It's like, well...
Yeah, that's a real kill your darling process.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
What are your memories of Seattle since you've been here quite a few times?
Well, we've been here quite a few times, but to be honest, the previous times we were here, I didn't get any further than like a block or two away from the venue. I do remember these shows as being really crowded, lots of people in a relatively small place, but that always made like a very festive atmosphere, even though, you know, I mean, what we can do here production-wise is not even close to what we're used to, but somehow it always turns out to be a party in the end. And I guess that's really, you know, the energy that the people bring to the show, and that, you know, we mirror that, and then so yeah, I have good memories of the shows here. But actually today's the first time that I got to see a little bit more of the city, and that was very nice.
Very cool.
Yeah.
And like we were talking about earlier, you got some nice weather finally to actually go explore things and walk. And,
yeah, we've been to like the Water and Pike Market, if I see correctly.
Yep.
Yeah, we've been there, and I'm not saying that I had a cocktail like in the middle of the afternoon, but I kind of did. So there you go.
All right. Did you see any of the guys throwing the fish around down at the market?
No, I didn't.
Oh.
I know that they're there, but
Yeah.
I didn't.
Okay.
And it's fine because I feel bad for the fish.
Oh, true. Yes.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about that with your vegan background.
No, I mean
just in general.
It's still kind of nostalgic and like old market stuff. So I get why people like that.
Okay, cool. So you guys had your big 10th anniversary concert back in December, and I know some of the fans from all over the world actually flew to it. Some of them are part of the online groups that I kind of check in on, that kind of thing. When you think back about that entire 10-year span, what are some of the things that stand out to you for any reason, good, bad, or indifferent? There's got to be so many things that have happened in that amount of time.
I think of Like, for example, the first time we did Lowlands Festival, which used to be one of the festivals that I used to go to as a teenager, and now we actually performed there in one of the biggest tents, and that was really cool. I think of, you know, just some of the tours we've done together, actually also some of the simple moments like today, where we actually like had a few minutes to head out, see something of the places we are visiting, and it's very nice to after a while get kind of an idea of where you actually are. And also one of the things that are always very special to me is that every time you come back to a place, you meet some people that you've met before, and you know, in a couple of years like this, you start to kind of get friends like all over the world, and that is very, very special. Like you're there and you're like, oh, tonight this and that person is visiting, and oh, tonight I'm going to see that one, and last time we've seen it was like 2 years ago. Like for example, this tour we've had one festival in Worcester, and there were a lot of bands there that we've toured with over the last couple of years. So we were seeing the guys from Sabbatical again, from Battle Beast. Those kind of things are just a lot of fun. That you meet each other at random places on the globe, and that's very special to me.
I know one of the bands kind of talked about it when they run into the friends of other bands. It's kind of like going to summer camp again for them.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
I haven't seen you in like 3 tours or whatever it's been, or even longer sometimes, and you're going to catch up and see what they're up to, and just going to have a good time catching up and seeing what they're doing and that kind of thing. Let alone, you guys have done a really great job of making yourselves very available, because I know like almost after every single show you try to come out and meet the fans, build up your fan base that way, and like you said, there's going to be people in every city that come back, you recognize, you may not know their name or anything, but oh, I remember you, or I remember something that you signed.
It's a really comforting idea when you perform a gig, and usually the people on like the front rows, you'll be like, I've seen you before, I've seen you before, like, hey, you know, how have you been? And that's really nice.
Yeah, and that's a testament to what you guys have done. Did you kind of think when you first came out to America in 2013 that you wanted to do that, or was that something you were already doing in Europe?
Yes, actually, because people told us, you know, ever from the first time that we wanted to go to the US, they were like, if you really want to be touring in the US, you know, it's going to take a lot of time. You will have to do like, you know, 5 support tours before you can even start the headline. And so it was a careful consideration, like, you know, it's no use going one time, because the first tour to do will always be investment in the future. So once we've done that first tour, we were already planning to do the follow-up as well, and really make this one of our, it sounds really business-like, but touring markets.
Sure.
Because, that way you can actually, in the long run, make the investment, you know, worth it. And also, you know, of course, it can also be that after one tour you're like, okay, well, this didn't work. But so far, all of the supporting tours we've done, we've experienced as hugely successful. We've experienced the audience as hugely welcoming and, you know, happy to see that we came back. So that's also like kind of a push for us to see like, okay, we're on the right track here. We're not just doing a tour, but we're actually building up to be able to do our own tours later. And now with the co-headline tour with Hammerfall, I already feel like, you know, when we're on stage every night doing the full set, like, yeah, you know, people try to talk you out of it, like, you know, it's so much work and it's years of touring, and we're like, yeah, well, you know, we're in for it for a long run, so that's what we're gonna do, and we did, and we're here, so yay. Yeah.
It's very much planting seeds. Those early ones, and then you keep building and building and building on it. So, having said that, does that mean then, like, because you guys have been working so hard, I mean, every single year you're, you know, writing, recording, touring, and then repeat that cycle over and over again. Is there going to be a time, you know, next year or a couple of years down the road where you kind of take that break, or is it going to be like, no, we're still climbing another mountain, so now we want to come back and do a full headlining thing with production and all that?
I think that last year we had a very busy year, and it was the first year where we said, next year we're going to take it easy. This year, we're not taking it easy. But, you know, maybe down the line that is something that we'll need. Who knows? I think it's also kind of a healthy thing, because if you put everything else in your life on hold, that means that if you still want to do that, that at one point you have to stop So if like, you know, a sabbatical year is something that can make you say like, I'm gonna do this until I retire, then yeah, sure, that sounds like a good idea. But I don't know when. Like I said, last year we said next year we're going to take it easy. This year we're saying next year we're going to take it easy. But so far it hasn't happened yet. So, but you know, if that's at one point what is needed to, you know, keep our sanity, then yeah, sure, that's something that I guess is wise to do.
So it sounds like you're going to do it very organically. Then you'll just kind of figure out.
Yeah.
It seems like this is a good time to take a break for a variety of reasons or what have
Yeah,
you. Or it's
exactly.
like, no, we got more plans, and if we feel up to it, let's you know execute those plans.
Yeah.
And then you just play it by ear then.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I think I may have asked you this once before, but I'm always interested. Like you have a real interest in reading that's widely known in books and that type of thing, and you wrote your novella, if I'm saying that right. Mm-hmm. Do you ever see down the road where you might do a concept record based on a story that you wrote?
We've been talking about it, and it might happen. Like the fact that I've done it now, I know how much work it is, and with how productive we've been with Delain over a couple of years, I'm like, I'm not sure if I can do that within that amount of time. But yeah, we have been, because we've been talking about the next record, like what are we going to do? Is this an option? And we kind of all were like, yeah, you know, maybe that is something that would be interesting for a next record. But maybe also considering the time that it takes, it will be the record after that. I don't know, but it is something that we're curious about. You know, we've done a handful of albums now, and maybe it will be a time to try something a little bit different. We'll see. Also, in that process, I think that it's very good to kind of let the inspiration of that moment guide you. I have some ideas now, but none which are really worked out yet. Also, like the main part of the songwriting for the next album is still going to happen when we return. So, yeah, it could really go anywhere from here. But I would definitely not exclude the idea of having like a concept at the heart of the record.
Okay.
No.
I think for me, listening to the last track on Moonbathers, The Monarch, the instrumental piece, it's so grandiose and cinematic, and it also kind of sets it up kind of like you would see a film, and then it goes black, and then it kind of gives you like a little glimpse of what might be coming around the corner, just in that tune. And I think that's for me kind of made me think, there's got to be somewhere down the line, these worlds are going to kind of merge together of some sort of story that's going to be told within the songs themselves as a cohesive unit.
And if you look at The Monarch itself, together with Chrysalis, those are two tracks that were actually based on a film script. So we've already had some, actually Danse Macabre was based on the same film script. So there's already, like, it's not really like a concept, but there are already parts of our album that kind of interweave in that way. So I don't think that it would be too big of a jump to actually say, okay, but let's actually weave them together and make like one. Like, we didn't really feel the urge for that up until now, but you know, maybe.
Okay.
And maybe not. Like,
yeah, don't know.
We'll have to see what happens in the next couple of months. You know, when we're writing. If for some reason we get into that writing room and write 10, you know, very inspired songs and have nothing to do with each other, that could also be the next record. It kind of depends on where inspiration takes us. Oh, that's so cliche. Sorry, but it's true. No.
Okay, I want to kind of switch gears. One thing I want to ask, I like asking people who are not from the U.S., good, bad, indifferent, doesn't really matter. Eclectic Arts, which is my media, is not politically motivated in any way, shape, or form. But what do you think about the state of the U.S., especially as of from November on, when our presidential election happened and we have our current President Trump in the office? For someone who doesn't live here, it's like, well, it didn't matter.
Yeah, but of course it's very comparable to a couple of things which are happening in Europe as well. We've got, you know, in our politics, we've got the same kind of people doing the same kind of things, and you know, also the way people vote. I think it's very much a global trend, and of course. In the US, I think a lot of people were really shocked at the outcome.
Yes.
And of course, in Europe, we are. So I was actually talking to my, I ran into one of my professors from the gender studies department, and I asked her, like, is anything like being organized, like, you know, seminars or things, like, are we talking about this, are we doing, and the reply I got was like, yes, but we're mainly focusing on what, you know, is going to happen in the Netherlands in a few months. And we are still in formation, so, I mean, we've had our elections and we're still in formation. And, but it's,
it's a crazy time.
I mean, without getting too political about it. Like, I'm not scared of being political or anything, but I know that a lot of people vote for different things for different reasons, and I don't want to dismiss anyone's feelings. You know, whether I think that, you know, certain choice is right or wrong. There is a feeling at the heart of it, and you can never say that, you know, your feeling is wrong because people are having those feelings. But the fact that we are so divided, that I think is that is just a very, very negative thing, and that's happening in the US and that's happening in Europe, and I feel like, you know, the gap between different groups is really, really growing, and depending on what side you stand, I think that's very troublesome. Yeah, I wish it was different. And of course, you know, I myself, I'm on one side of the spectrum, and other people are on another side of the spectrum, and I have been very outspoken about where I am, and that's not a secret. But yeah, I think it's very sad that, you know, the division is kind of growing, and that more and more people are just basically, you know, yelling opinions into the universe instead of having conversations. And conversations turn into fights very easily. You know, whether it's, you know, neighbors talking to each other about certain things, or politicians talking about things, and it's I feel on every level that that it's kind of growing apart, and yeah, I think that's incredibly sad. I was kind of happy to see the science box, because if you look at certain pressing issues, I feel like, you know, science could tell us what to do, and it could take a lot of the discussion and also a lot of the people going in different directions. It could take it out of it if you just look at facts, if I can call it that. So yeah.
Okay. Well, on that kind of serious note, we'll kind of take another turn.
Yes, take a turn, please.
Yes, okay. One thing that I've been watching a lot of on online that I really, I just kind of find entertaining is that sometimes they'll take artists and they'll go to an actual brick and mortar record store, which we don't have a lot left in the U.S. or in the world really. But they'll bring the artists there, and they can go around and kind of select different albums, CDs, what have you, of artists that kind of had an impact on their life. Doesn't matter if they're 5 years old to current age, and they kind of just talk about it. Like, for example, for me, the first band I ever saw was Kiss, so I'd probably pull out Alive 2 or Destroyer or something like that, and says, oh, you know, I remember when I was 7 years old or whatever, and I got this album. Can you think of 3 albums / artists that you can kind of talk about, even though we don't obviously run in a record store, but that kind of like just kind of had a distinct impact on you?
Well, I kind of have to talk, since we're in Seattle and everything, I kind of feel like talking about Nirvana and Hole. Because it's, I really liked Nirvana growing up, and by the time that I discovered Nirvana didn't exist anymore. So that was really like reaching back. And it's also fun because within the band you kind of see like our ages are not that far from each other, but still, you know, Martijn, for example, is very much from the 80s, and I'm very much from the 90s.
Okay.
You kind of see that in musical preferences, but also when it comes to, you know, when I did gender studies, and you kind of become aware of, like, through liking Nirvana and through, you know, watching the documentaries, I've kind of really been taught to hate, like, Courtney Love, for example, because of all the conspiracy theories. And only when I was another 10 years older, I listened to their records, and I was like, wow, this is so good. And so I don't know, I feel like really through through listening to Nirvana is kind of I feel like it's a landmark in time, you know. Also because of I can't say simplicity of the songs, but I will say simplicity of the songs. Those are when I was in high school and I was forming my first band, you know, those are the first songs that we played because we could play them.
Sure.
But if you look at the raw emotional content of the tracks, of course that goes way deeper. So I would maybe it's weird to combine Nirvana and Hole, but I feel like for me those kind of go together where it comes to, you know, the landmark and the influence. And,
sure.
By now, like last summer, I listened to Hole all summer, you know, years after, and really like it. Other band for me is Radiohead, has to be, because I think I can say it's my favorite band. It's another band that I discovered way after, like, the first album that I listened to was Amnesiac, and of course Radiohead had been very, very popular with OK Computer, and, you know, loads of critics think that it's, you know, one of the best albums ever made, and I kind of agree to that, but it's fun when you see that, you know, like, loads of people got on board when they released that album, and then they did Kid A, and a lot of people were like, oh, this is getting too weird for me, like, bye-bye, and then Amnesia kind of was even more out there, and so I think by then a lot of people were already like, okay, you know, never mind, and I discovered them with that album, and then I got to work back and see all of the things that they've done before that, and well, needless to say, I was super impressed, and with every album they put out now, like, sometimes they need like 1 or 2 spins to kind of grow on me, because it's still not the most easy digestible music, like, I feel like I have to listen to it a couple of times to really, really get into it, but with the last album, for example, like, I was so, like, they're not really doing anything new on this record, but like all the songs like really hit home, and
it's really resonated with you.
Yeah, and I think that, you know, if a band can do that over such a long time span, to keep you kind of on the edge of the seat with everything they release, and to change their sound. But, you know, in my case, yeah, like I said, I know that a lot of people, when they started doing Kid A, got all weird. Like, a lot of people were like, okay, but yeah, they really got me hooked for the entire process, and I think that that's really, really impressive. Just really impressive. Now I have to pick the third one, which is really, I kind of want to say Nick Cave, but then I also have to think of, like, you know, Tori Amos, for example, or Kate Bush. So it's kind of hard to pick one. I'll go with Nick Cave just because it's another angle to artists that I'm really into, because Nick Cave is one of the people who is like, he's a very good musician, but he's also just a very good writer and teller of stories in general, and I love his books as much as I love his albums and his poetry, and you know, the way that his performances are always so very intense, you know, whether he is with the Bad Seeds or whether he's with Grinderman. I really love Grinderman's work as well. It's a little bit more dirty, but so for that, I think more the kind of the lyrical aspect of it really speaks to me, and the way that he really tells stories. And, you know, as a concept album, Murder Ballads is really, I think, one of the best ones ever done. Like, you know, let's kill someone off every song, let's just do it.
Mind-blowing stuff.
Really, yes, definitely.
Okay, no, that's 3 amazing artists that you picked. And Radiohead was just here in Seattle a couple months ago, playing Key Arena and that type of thing. So would that probably be one of your kind of dream tours, like if you guys are opening for Radiohead? Or
I think it would be a very bad combination. I think people would not like us at all, you know, Radiohead fans in general. Like, there's a lot of bands that I would like to tour with because I really like the band, but when it comes to putting like packages together, there always has to be a certain balance of liking the bands and knowing that the bands together will make a package that people are into. Like if we would open for Radiohead, I think everyone would be like, what? Delain who? But yeah, you know, if I could tag along on one of their tours, of course, that would be very interesting to see, you know, one of your favorite bands and how they do it. But yeah. Okay. Then probably Nick Cave would then probably even be more logical because that's still kind of, you know, the gothic element. So, yeah. Okay. Well, I'm going to wrap this interview up with one last kind of question or thought to ponder. I saw these guys, The Damned, on their 40th anniversary tour about 3 weeks ago, and I'm like, gosh, 40 years they've been together, you know, off and on, and they're like in their early 60s now, and you guys just had your 10th anniversary, so can you think 30 years down the road, well, one, would you want to be doing music at that point? It's hard to say, but then two, if you were, what do you think it would be like? I would definitely want to do music. Like in general, I see myself doing, you know, things in the arts, and because that's what makes me truly happy. I can imagine celebrating Delain's 20-year anniversary, 30-year anniversary, but also I can imagine for some reason that things would go differently, and I think it's good to keep an open mind towards the future. I think there has been points, you know, just like when you're in a band, you're in a relationship with each other, and there have been points where I thought, you know, I'm not sure if this is going to last for another 10 years, but you know, then it did. So far we've always been able to have a connection that's bigger than whatever is challenging us in this road. And yeah, I surely hope that we're still on that path. And yeah, like I said, I hope that we'll be celebrating Delain's 20-year anniversary. But I also think that the main thing is, you know, as long as everyone's happy and creatively fulfilled, and I think that should be the main goal of doing music or doing whatever kind of profession actually, whatever fulfills you. So yeah, but I get really, when I see people in their 60s doing music, I get really inspired, and I hope to resemble that. So I think that's a good sign there. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, when I saw those guys, they sounded great, they moved great, Vanian looked great, his style, everything. It's like, man, he has a beard now, but it's just like... Yeah, you know, in a few days, I'll turn 30. So, I mean, I've started exercising on tour because if I want to keep this going for a while, I better be in good shape. That's something that you learn from touring. Like, this morning, like, if before noon I'm up, I have clothes on, I've brushed my teeth, and I had coffee, then I feel like super accomplished. Like being on tour is kind of like camping, and so at one point you kind of start getting some discipline, you know. Yeah, I just told you I've been day drinking, so it was only one cocktail, but you know, in general, like not drinking, keeping hydrated, like not drinking alcohol, keeping hydrated, having some good food, exercising every now and then. I do notice that those are things that become more important both as you get, I'm not saying that I'm getting older, but you know, once you do this, you have so many shows in a row and they're headline shows, you know, you need a lot of energy. You can't half-ass it. You really have to have some discipline to, or at least for me, I really need some discipline to be on that stage with energy every night. So here's for getting old in music. I hope I can make it happen, and yeah, taking all the precautions to make it happen. Yeah. Well, Charlotte, thank you so much for taking the time to do the interview. I think it was great today. And what would you like to say as a parting thing to all your fans around the world? Well, we are. I think that this headline tour is kind of showing that, you know, we are getting to tour more and more and more places. So wherever you are, thanks for checking this out. Thanks for checking us out and sticking with us. And yeah, we surely hope that we can perform near you and meet you guys on the road. And yeah, that's it mostly, I think. Yeah. Cool. Thank you. Thank you.